But enough about Katy Perry and her wedding. We've got a special guest joining us tonight on the show, and that is the Last Morrell. Good evening and welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing?
Not too bad. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a treat.
It's not a problem at all. But what we've done here is we've purposefully not told anybody much about you because we would much rather find out about you from you. So I'm throwing you right in at the deep end. Tell us all about the Last Morrell.
Okay. So I'm a northern lad. I'm from Knaresborough in North Yorkshire, and I live down in London. I started this project maybe a year or so ago. I released my first single, and I got a load of support from BBC Introducing. So I'm kind of like on a bit of a journey with it now. But my normal day job, as it were, is as a session musician for pop artists. So I'm like in the deep end of the music industry, but now I'm focusing all my energy on releasing this music, and it's kind of a like slightly nostalgic sound, a bit of Supertramp in there, a bit of Beatles, a bit of Freddie Mercury, that kind of thing. So it's quite a classic thing, but yeah, hopefully your listeners will get a chance to listen to the tunes themselves and make it their own minds.
Well, we definitely will be. We'll be listening to one of your tracks tonight. Is it just yourself that's in the band, or have you got anybody else there with you?
Yeah. So I play everything on the records except the drums. I've got a very good friend of mine who plays the drums, but then live I have a band. So yeah, I write and record everything myself. And then I have a few guys, also luckily for me, session musicians who come and join me for the live show when I need them. Yeah.
Fantastic. So the name, The Last Morrell, where's that come from?
So Morrell's actually my mum's maiden name. And around the time I was starting the project, my grandmother, her mum, she was sort of in her final throes, as they say, and as she passed away, I thought she was the Last Morrell. I thought it would be a nice testament to her to kind of name the project after her in a way. And my real surname isn't that cool, so I just thought the Morrell sounded nice.
Yeah, that one's not cool, so I'm just going to go for that surname instead. That'll do.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much how I went, yeah. My dad was mortified.
So, were you brought up listening to the Beatles and that? Because you were mentioning that you sound quite similar to the older style, like Freddie Mercury and that. Is that the kind of stuff you were brought up listening to?
Yeah, so, I mean, I got a lot of the classic singer-songwriter stuff from my dad. He was really into, like, Billy Joel and Elton John and a bit of Supertramp as well. My mum was a bit of a rocker, so she introduced me to Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd and Motorhead. So I've got a bit of a rock background, but I've always been into my classic singer-songwriters, really, so that's where my heart is, yeah.
It kind of sounds like you've been brought up by my parents, because that sounds like exact same setup there as well.
Really?
You're a long-lost brother, I tell you. You must be. So what got you involved in the music industry? Is there anybody else in the family that's musical?
My dad can hold a tune. He can play a bit of piano and he can sing. He's always been one for the karaoke. So, but my mum, bless her, doesn't really have much of a musical bone in her body. But I went and studied environmental sciences of all things at university, and I was playing in bands whilst I was there. And then I just decided quite quickly whilst I was doing that actually I was probably best at music. So I moved to London with a view to kind of starting my own thing and seeing how it went down there. And I kind of made my way into the session world. So I played for various kind of pop artists and people going on tours and stuff as a keys player and a guitarist, sort of hiding at the back of the stage. And then whenever I get the chance, I'm kind of doing my own thing as well. But it seems to be doing more of that at the moment than I was before. So it's great.
Fantastic. Now, you mentioned that you're playing all the instruments on your track apart from the drums. Are you completely self-taught, or have you been to lots of music lessons to learn all these different instruments?
Kind of varying levels. I learned classical guitar when I was a little kid, and I did my grades in that. But then kind of shamefully discovered Guns N' Roses age 13 and decided I wanted to be a rock guitarist for quite a long time, and kind of taught myself all that kind of stuff really, and then taught myself to sing. And then kind of taught myself to play keys when I moved to London as well. I decided that rock music wasn't that cool when I moved to London, and I wanted to be a keys player as well. So a mix of self-taught and some classic tuition as well. So yeah, a bit of a varied background. What's
your favourite instrument then? What's your favourite one that you can play? And if you could only pick one to really master, which one would it be?
I think guitar. I think guitar is one of the most emotional instruments out there. Just the way you can bend notes and the way you can sound like a human voice in a way. I think the guitar is most beautiful and most versatile of things. But I really wish I could play the drums, to be honest. That would really complete the complete the picture.
Oh, definitely. Although you would need to split yourself into about 4 or 5 different people, and then you could just be yourself out on tour with all your different versions of you playing all the different instruments.
Yeah, I mean, I could be a bit of a one-man band, couldn't I?
So have you got any tour dates lined up then?
So I'm not going on tour. I've got a headline show coming up at Notting Hill Arts Club this Friday, actually, Friday the 13th.
Ooh, Friday the 13th.
So yeah, I know. People say it's unlucky, but tickets are selling quite well at the moment. So I'm thinking it's lucky. But yeah, so that's my next date, and then I'm actually going away on tour for 2 months. I'm going on the Dua Lipa tour with a support artist for that, playing keys and guitar for her. So after this Friday, if you want to see me, you have to catch me hiding at the back of the stage in arenas around Europe doing something else.
That's fantastic. So how did you manage to get that gig then, or are you not allowed to tell us?
Well, I mean, no, it's all word of mouth. The session world is a very all nepotism. So you kind of get recommended for things through friends and colleagues and stuff. So yeah, it was one of those things I got asked to do, and yeah, I'm very, very lucky to be able to do that for a job, as well as my own thing. Yeah.
So have you already met Dua Lipa then, or is that going to be a sort of last minute when you're on tour you'll get to meet her?
I'll probably meet her properly on tour, I'm sure. But actually, funnily enough, I used to I teach music as well. I mean, I'm a jack of all trades, really. I teach music at primary school 1 day a week, and her little brother used to come into the school. He used to be one of my students, so I've met the family before. But hopefully, I'll get to meet her properly on tour.
That'll be fantastic. I'm blown away. That's a brilliant achievement. Especially when you've only really been going for about a year, you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, I've lived in London for 4 or 5 years, and the session thing has kind of picked up in the last couple of years. I've done all sorts. I've done every job you can imagine up until this point, just to kind of make living in London work. But yeah, it's all kind of starting to turn quite a big corner for me, which is exciting.
No, too right, and well deserved. If you could maybe take one of Dua Lipa's songs, I'm just going to use her as an example, and you could have released it before her, which one would it be and why?
Oh, I think I'm going to have to go a bit classic with it. I mean, I love the one she did with Calvin Harris, One Kiss.
Oh yeah, brilliant track.
It's just an undeniable banger, really. So yeah, no, that would be the one. That would be the one.
See, I love what she's doing now. It kind of really ties in with what you're doing, how she's kind of doing that 80s style with her music now.
Yeah, I love it. It's she's gone. Well, the whole thing's called future nostalgia, isn't it? So I'm really behind that way of thinking. I think it's time for a bit of classic sounding, classic feeling songwriting again. I think we're ready for it.
So, God forbid, we don't want this to happen, but if one of her musicians was just to all of a sudden fall ill, you've got to get yourself up there and say, I'm doing this. I'll come on stage and do it. I'll do my own set, and then I'll do your set too.
Well, I mean, funnily enough, it's a lot of my friends are in her band. I really do mean it's a small circle of people. So I think I probably would be next in line if my friend was to fall ill. I hope he doesn't though.
No, I hope not. I mean, we're not cursing him or anything here.
Yeah, that'd be quite an evil thing to wish on someone, wouldn't it? But yeah. So
given the current climate, I'm going to have to ask a question that I really don't want to have to ask. Have you guys had to make any different arrangements or that with this whole coronavirus stuff? I know Italy's kind of off bounds now.
Well, I mean, I don't. That tour is all still going ahead. Everything's happening. But yeah, I've had bits of work being cancelled. The industry's kind of on its knees a little bit. Yeah, I've had a tour cancelled at the end of March. I can't say who with. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a bit of a dark time. But I mean, luckily for being at my level, it shouldn't affect my crowd sizes. You know, I don't tend to play to venues more than 500 people, so I'm all right.
Well, you will be soon.
Well, yeah, hopefully, yeah, hopefully I'll be playing to 10,000 capacity arenas before the year's out, but one can dream. Oh,
definitely. You know what? This is a great thing for you to be doing now, because next year it's going to be you doing the headline tours.
Hey, yeah, I like your positive thinking. Yeah, I hope so.
If you don't think positive, you don't get anywhere. But if you think positive, you take on the world, and you're going to manage it. I really liked hearing your track when I first heard it. So, what is a comedy inspired by?
A comedy, yeah, it was one of those songs that kind of came out of nowhere. I was fumbling around with the chords, and it's kind of ended up being about it is. I mean, it's meant to be a slightly tongue-in-cheek look at like a couple having an argument. Basically, when you reach that point with your loved one where you can't remember why you started arguing about what you were arguing about in the first place, but it's more about winning the argument than it is being actually right. So you're sat there and you kind of lost your ability to communicate with each other. You're knackered, and it's kind of about that kind of after the drama feeling, when it's all died down and you kind of reconnect with someone. And that's where the line "love is always a comedy" to me kind of comes from. It's all about that rush of emotions that can kind of wreck or break or break a relationship. That I find quite funny when you break it down.
See, I like the fact that you've grabbed something that happens in every relationship and turned it into a really funky comedy song kind of thing. I mean, I'll admit, I'm never wrong, ever.
Exactly. Nor am I. I never have been either.
Never have been, never will be.
Yeah.
So what is next for you then? We've got a comedy out now. We've got another album on the way.
So I think it's going to be a couple more singles. I've got a single release planned for June, and another show on June the 25th. So that's when I get back from the Dua Lipa tour. And then after that, I think I'm going to do a double single. I've got quite an exciting kind of double music video experience planned. It's going to take a lot of time, and a little bit of money on my part to do. But yeah, lots of exciting singles. I think I'm going to try and release a few more tracks this year, a couple more shows, but just kind of enjoy putting music out for now and keep hoping that it gets a reaction like it has been. So yeah.
Oh, definitely. I mean, that's the best way of doing it because you're keeping yourself current and you're keeping yourself updating all the time.
Yeah, and when there's demand for it, I'd love to put an album out, but they cost so much money to make. I want somebody else to pay for it, and then I'll do it.
Well, see, I was about to demand it there, but then you've said about someone else paying for it, and I thought I better not because I might be putting myself in a corner here.
Yeah. Well, I could crowdfund it if you're happy to be the only participant. We'll see how it goes.
Hey, didn't put yourself down. You're doing fantastic already, and you're going to keep doing fantastic. If you could play in any venue anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
I think I wouldn't go for a size. I don't think like the arena thing is amazing, but I think somewhere really prestigious like the Royal Albert Hall. That would be a life changer. Maybe even somewhere like the Jazz Cafe. That's a bucket list venue for me. Even like Brixton Academy, those kind of venues, they're kind of pinnacle turning points for people's careers. When people first explode, those are the gigs that they remember because it's still intimate enough that you can still see people's faces, and that they remember seeing yours. But it's big enough that it's exciting. You
need to do the Cavern Club then, because that one there, come on, it's the one that made the Beatles.
Yeah, I'd love to do the Cavern. I went there actually. I went to Liverpool on International Beatles Week a couple of years ago and spent the afternoon in there hanging around.
Would you believe I've been there twice in International Beatles Week? It's an amazing experience.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. Oh,
definitely. Well, you never know. In a couple of years' time, we might have the Last Morrell week, so you need to just keep going.
I promise I will.
And what to do is, in June, when you've got that next track coming out, and once you're back from the tour, let's get you back on the show again, and you can let us know how it all went, and give us the next track.
I'll send it straight over, I promise.
Perfect. Well, it's been fantastic chatting to you tonight, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to let you go and let you give us the introduction to your song. But as I say, you're welcome back anytime.
Oh, thank you very much, Shelley. Yeah, it's been a treat. Thanks for having me.
So just give us a reminder of who you are and introduce your song to us, please.
I'm the Last Morrell, and this is a comedy featuring Caitlin Scarlett.